a lot of people, whether they're gurus, coaches, other fitness enthusiasts, even doctors, they get this wrong. Guys, the reason Anadrol causes estrogenic side effects is not because of the estrogen conversion, because there is no estrogen conversion with Anadrol. Rather, Anadrol causes estrogen side effects because Anadrol has been proven, this is not up for debate, it has scientifically been proven that Anadrol, also known as oxymethylone, actually attaches onto and binds to the estrogen receptor sites. Yeah, yo, what's going on, guys? This is Spartan here, nutrition, training, and hormone expert and Prometheus Pro bodybuilder. Guys, today we're going to be talking about Anadrol, everything you need to know about Anadrol, also known as oxymethylone. So, guys, let's get started. Guys, we're going to go first through the pros, and then we're going to go through the cons. Make sure you watch the whole video to the end so that you're not missing out on any vital information. Guys, let's go. So, first and foremost, guys, we're going to start with the pros. Anadrol contains an anabolic androgenic rating of 320 anabolic to 45 androgenic. Now, guys, if you recently watched my Anavar video, we talked about how Anavar has an anabolic component of almost 500 in the latest studies, and also androgenic, yeah, it's pretty close, right around 40. So having said that, guys, Anadrol, on paper, is slightly less, well, quite a bit less, almost 150 less than Anavar, but still it is packing a pretty big whopping punch at 320 anabolic. We talked about also in the Anavar video how sometimes things don't quite line up on paper, theoretical and medical studies and literature, as they do in the real world. Obviously with Anavar, Anavar is even more powerful in real world studies than it is on paper, which is kind of a flip-flop. Having said that, with Anadrol, guys, it's important to note that Anadrol lines up exactly with its anabolic androgenic rating. It's right on in terms of medical studies and literature. Having said that, guys, and you guys please type in Anadrol studies, Anadrol muscle growth studies. There are tons and tons of studies available when Anadrol has been prescribed for short-term to moderate length cycles for dosages treating all different sorts of diseases. Having said that, guys, moving on from the anabolic androgenic ratio, it's important to note that Anadrol is a DHT derivative drug. What does this mean, guys? In the same way that Anavar is also a DHT derivative, that means that testosterone converts to DHT via the 5-alpha reductase, and then what scientists did to create this, it's a DHT derivative hardened anabolic steroid, if you would, meaning that it cannot be, it's resistant to metabolism in the same way that DHT is. It's modeled off of the DHT hormone in the human body. So having said that, guys, being a DHT derivative, Anadrol does not convert to estrogen whatsoever at all, which is kind of misleading, being that Anadrol is a notorious cause of estrogenic side effects. Now, I want you guys to listen up, listen super close, because a lot of people, whether they're gurus, coaches, other fitness enthusiasts, even doctors, they get this wrong. Guys, the reason Anadrol causes estrogenic side effects is not because of the estrogen conversion, because there is no estrogen conversion with Anadrol. Rather, Anadrol causes estrogen side effects because Anadrol has been proven, this is not up for debate, it has scientifically been proven that Anadrol, also known as oxymethylone, actually attaches onto and binds to the estrogen receptor sites. Wow, I know, that's where these estrogenic effects are coming from. It's not from the conversion to estrogen, because there isn't any. Again, it's a DHT derivative hardened steroid, No, rather, Anadrol actually has a slight binding affinity onto estrogen receptor sites. Anyways, guys, moving on. There's a huge red blood cell increase with Anadrol. Now, I didn't even have to tell you guys this. If you do any basic searches on Anadrol, either on the fact sheet, on the scientific literature, you know that Anadrol causes huge red blood cell increases. Now, the thing you have to address with this is that these red blood cell increases with Anadrol, while they are far more powerful than any other anabolic steroid, much more powerful than testosterone at increasing red blood cell count, it is not anywhere near to the extent of, say, a drug called EPO, okay, erythropoietin, for example. And that is the drug that, cyclists, think Tour de France athletes, long endurance athletes, that's the drug that athletes overdose on, because basically, guys, they turn their blood to maple syrup. That's the gist of it. So in regards to increases in red blood cell count, thickening of the blood, Anadrol without a doubt is going to cause that. Probably around the same, I don't have the scientific facts on this, but in my professional opinion, close to around the same as a drug like equipoise. Now, yes, these huge red blood cell increases, they're going to be noticeable, they're going to be more, but again, it's not going to be anywhere near as great as using EPO, also known as erythropoietin, to increase red blood cell count, which is a very, very good thing. So having said that, guys, huge red blood cell increases. This is also going to aid large increases in vascularity. That has to be said. That's another pro. You're going to have larger veins, larger muscles. You're going to be more vascular, and you're also going to be more full, just because the muscles are going to have that pumped look that you can only really get, guys, with either anabolic steroids that increase red blood cell count or high doses of testosterone. Again, not encouraging that, but I am giving you the unbiased facts. Moving on, guys. Many short-term safety studies. Now, arguably, this is probably one of the best pros about Anadrol ever, is that with Anadrol, obviously testosterone, we have more information on testosterone than any other anabolic steroid in existence. Why? Because that is our natural hormone. It's been tried, tested, studied all over the scientific community, medical community. There's so much information on testosterone. I don't even need to go into it. It is beyond safe. Even up to 500 milligrams for even moderate lengths of time, such as even a year. I'm not encouraging that. Again, I'm just giving you the facts. Having said that, guys, and again, talk to your doctor about anything you have questions on, and if your doctor is not well advised, talk to an endocrinologist or talk to the physicians at Prometheus HRT. Moving on, guys. When talking about many short-term safety studies, obviously testosterone is number one, but in regards to that, Anavar and Anadrol are the two safest anabolic steroids ever in existence. We have so many short-term safety studies on both Anavar and Anadrol. Watch my Anavar video. Also, guys, we talk about this at length. Moving on from this, Anadrol, a lot of people don't know this, but Anadrol is extremely potent. I'm not going to lie to you guys. It's extremely potent, proven fat burner. Anadrol being a DHT derivative drug, it's resistant to breakdown, enzyme and metabolic breakdown in the human body. We're talking muscle tissue, fat tissue, even in the bloodstream, and that's why DHT derivatives are so potent. That's where this higher anabolic rating, this ratio, is going to come from, guys. So having said that, Anadrol, some of you guys might be saying, well, I watched your Anavar video. Why is it that Anadrol is a potent fat burner as well? Well, guys, being that it's a DHT derivative, being that it has the same metabolic resistance and enzyme resistance to breakdown, and being as anabolic as it is, it's going to be able to enter, adipose tissue, the fat tissue, especially around the trunk, the torso. And what's going to happen is that it's going to attach on to those receptor sites that DHT normally attaches onto, and it's going to greatly cause fat burning effects. So the thing is that Anadrol, yes, it's going to cause great fat burning effects, but because Anadrol is about 150 less, Anavar is almost 500 anabolic, on paper, and it even exceeds that in real world studies. With Anadrol being at 320 on paper, and also we seeing, that lineup, in medical studies. Yes, it's going to cause fat burning, but nowhere near the maximal fat burning effects that you would see with something like Anavars. But still, notable, powerful fat burning effects with Anadrol. And we have medical literature on that as well that's proven, that's not up for debate. But again, a lot of people don't know that Anadrol is a potent fat burner. So between the fat burning, the no estrogen conversion, but still has a slight affinity for the estrogen receptor sites, that's important to note. But we're talking about things that a lot of people don't talk about, either because they don't know, or again, we're still stuck in the older studies. Guys, let's move forward. Anadrol, C17 alkylated steroid. What does this mean? This is over in the pros because C17 alkylated steroid was developed by scientists. It was developed by scientists originally when SIBA created Anabol. If you know anything about Anabol, we're going to talk about that in later videos. But Anabol was created by the United States doctors and scientists to basically dope out Olympic athletes. The USA led, the creation of many anabolic steroids we have today. Anyways, moving forward, C17 alkylated steroids were created when SIBA, again, the US, they wanted to create powerful anabolic steroids with a lower androgenic rating that would, guess what, bypass through the stomach acid, the small intestine, and get past the liver bile enzymes without being destroyed, because any hormone taken through the digestive tract is almost completely destroyed, because hormones are delicate amino acid proteins, or made of amino acids and cholesterol. Moving forward, guys, what they did was, by doing a C17 alkylated steroid modification onto that compound, what they were able to do was basically bypass everything I just described, bypass the digestive tract with the stomach acid, the liver bile, liver enzymes, and basically be able to be sucked up through the lower small intestine and enter the bloodstream virtually untouched. Amazing, great, yes, absolutely great in terms of performance gains, but obviously the negative of that is liver toxicity, depending on what compound, and we're going to get into that with the cons. So guys, that's pretty much all the pros with Anadrol. No holds barred. These are all the pros, and they're huge. Again, Anadrol is a incredible anabolic androgenic steroid for building muscle, burning fat. Again, it's not as, in terms of pros, it's not as good as Anavar, either on paper or in real world studies. But having said that, we're still going to go through those cons. So let's go through the cons now and get out of here. So guys, moving on to the cons. Some of the cons with Anadrol: no long-term safety studies. So in the same way, again, with Anavar, it's the same sort of problem. We do not have any long-term safety studies. Now, again, we have tons of short-term safety studies where Anadrol is used for anything from AIDS patients, muscle wasting, burn patients, cancer patients, and you name it. And even people that are losing muscle mass, elderly patients, I believe I've seen those studies. Having said that, guys, we still do not have any long-term safety studies, anything longer than 20 to 24 weeks. We just don't have it. So again, that's the biggest con, is that we don't know long-term, how safe Anadrol is, even though we have all those short-term safety studies. So anyways, guys, moving on from there, the next big one is possible heart wall thickening. Now, again, I talked about this in many other videos, but basically, guys, in a nutshell, you have the heart, and if you're a hard training athlete, you're putting a lot of cardiovascular demand on the heart. What's going to happen is that left ventricle is going to expand exactly like a balloon. It's going to expand to meet that need. And then when you're done with training, it's going to shrink back down. We call that an athlete's heart, or enlarged left ventricle. Completely fine, does not increase mortality or risk of death or anything like that. But what's going to happen is that with Anadrol, and I put possible heart wall thickening again because we don't have the long-term studies, but I'm going off of just cited, proven long-term anabolic steroid abuse in general. Basically, what happens is instead of that left ventricle, getting bigger like a balloon to pump the blood, pump the increased blood or increased nutrient demand, to the human body, what's going to happen is that heart wall is actually going to get thicker. Now, this changes the efficiency of the heart in each pump, making it less efficient. And now this is a problem because while the heart's actually getting stronger and bigger, bigger is not always better. We know that with cars and engines, it completely changes the dynamics of everything. So possible heart wall thickening, that's a problem. That's I should say possible problem. I would argue probable. Especially if you're using Anadrol, or especially if you're abusing this drug, or using it outside of short-term use. Having said that, guys, moving on, possible plaque buildup in arteries. Again, I talked about this in my Anavar and also 2,000 milligrams of testosterone per week for 1 year. I talk about plaque buildup in arteries. Again, we don't have the long-term studies, but I would argue that using this drug at high doses, long-term, you're going to cause plaque buildup. There's just no way around that. So, again, that's basically where you're causing atherosclerosis, a hardening, and also the calcification through plaque in the arteries. Moving on from that, guys, and again, these two are possible. I cannot tell you guys 100% that's going to happen, but based on, again, the literature and the data we have, real world medical scientific studies, anabolic steroid abuse in general on a large scale in athletes, heart wall thickening, plaque buildup in arteries, that's just what happens. And that's another reason, guys, to use everything safely, legitimately through a doctor, through a hormone replacement clinic, or if you live in a country where that's legal, at least, guys, talk to a doctor, use at lower doses, and just take care of your health, get monitored. Having said that, guys, last con, Anadrol is liver toxic. Now, I did not list this with my Anavar video, but the reason I didn't list it is because Anavar has an incredible liver. The effects of Anadrol, the liver toxicity is so low, it's not usually worth mentioning. But in regards with Anadrol, the toxicity gets higher, especially when subjects, and again, we have this in the medical literature, but when subjects were doing studies with 100 milligrams Anadrol a day up to 150, if the subjects were drinking any amount of alcohol, it created almost immediate liver problems as far as ALT, AST raising, and being able to identify liver toxicity and or damage. Guys, last but not least, that's pretty much it for cons, but we're going to go through dosing. I would be remiss if I did not give you guys, again, I am not a doctor. Check with your doctor about everything, but this would be my professional recommendation as far as dosing. And in my opinion, some of the dosing given out is still too high. Hear what I have to say. Again, make your own educated decision, but this would be my professional recommendation. Dosing, 25 milligrams every day. I would take that right around an hour before training as pre-workout. And the reason being is that if you can get levels peaked up, spiked out right before your workout, you warm up with cardio, you're getting that Anadrol, oxymethylone basically in the bloodstream, binding to muscle tissue, binding onto fat tissue. You're getting all the benefits while taking less, not straining your system at anywhere near as much. So by taking things more of as a pre-workout, you're getting all the benefits of a higher dose usage, but not with some of the cons. And also, guys, if you're taking Anadrol, this would be a huge life hack for Anadrol. Anavar not so much because again the toxicity is lower, but something you can do would be with your Anadrol prescription, or again if you're in a country where it's legal, what you can do, guys, is that you can take that Anadrol. Again, my recommendation is 25 milligrams every day. Super low, super safe. Even Anadrol 50 is considered safe, but again, I don't see, again with how anabolic this is, you shouldn't need to, if it's a legitimate pharma grade prescription, 25 milligrams, pre-workout, getting it saturated in your bloodstream while you're training, while you're pumping the blood. You get all the binding effects, and also you avoid desensitization. Also, I guess that's another bonus. But my recommendation and my life hack, my I guess really, anabolic steroid oral hack to you guys would be, again, check with your doctor about everything. But what I would do is, fill up your shaker, maybe 16 ounces of water. And then what you would do is you put your Anadrol, your Anavar, whatever you have a script for, put your dosing into that, guys. And then what you'll do is you'll shake it up until it's completely dissolved, and then you can drink that, half an hour before your workout. And what's going to happen is that you're greatly reducing the toxicity of Anadrol or whatever oral, just because of how diluted, how much you're diluting that. Think, it's the same thing with the difference of, drinking a beer versus taking shots, and your liver has to, has to take that punch, right away. So again, I would argue for dilution, and that's another reason, guys, doctors, even when it has nothing to do with steroids, that's a reason that medical practitioners, doctors, clinics advise taking certain medicines with a meal. It's the same sort of concept. I would just argue, again, fill up your shaker, or, easiest in a shaker, 16 ounces of water, and dilute your medication in that, completely mix it, and then have that pre-workout. Anyways, guys, that's Anadrol, everything you need to know. Full expert breakdown. Seth Spartan, and we are out of here. Stay safe, stay healthy, and you guys take care.